Hi everybody, welcome to the fourth video on surds, and this video we'll be looking at multiplying a surd. Now the theory behind multiplying a surd is if we have two different surds underneath the root and we're multiplying them together, then it's just the same as having them multiplied underneath the same root. So a good example of this would be if we had the square root of 3 times the square root of 3. Using our rule up here, we can take them both, put them under the same root, and figure it out. The square root of 9. So in this case, the square root of 9, we know the square root of 9 is 3. So that brings an interesting idea that if we have two that are the same multiplied together, we will just end up with the number that's underneath the root. So just to prove my method, let's say we have root 10 times root 10, bring them together under the same 1. Root of 10 times 10 is the root of 100, which we know is 10. So that's going to come in handy later on in an upcoming video, so we'll have to keep that in mind. But what if they're different? Well, if they're different, say root 3 times root 5, we follow the same procedure where we have root 3 times 5 on the underneath. We solve that together and we have square root of 15, and we can't simplify square root of 15. But what if it was something different? What if it was the square root of 3 times the square root of 15? What then? Well, putting them underneath the same root again, 3 times 15. 3 times 15 gives us the square root of 45. Now, this isn't as we want it to be just of yet, because we can simplify root 45 down, because we can already know that 45 is made up of the square root of 9 times 5. And breaking them apart using the reverse of what we did when multiplying to simplify it, we get the square root of 9 times the square root of 5. Square root of 9 comes down to 3, and root 5 stays as root 5. So there might be a bit of simplification needed in these examples. But what if they're different and they have numbers in front of them? So let's just say we have 2 root 6 times by 3 root 3. Now these whole numbers at the front, we can take them together. So 2 times 3. So there's that one, and there's that one. The roots, however, put them together next to one another. And then we can just start our process again. So 2 times 3 gives us 6. And we're multiplying that by 6 times 3 underneath, and we know that 6 times 3 gives us 18. Now 18 we can break down because 18 is a product of 9 and 2, and then using a rule reversed, we break it down. 6 times the root of 9 times the root of 2. Root 9 we know to be 3, so 6 times 3 times root 2. 6 times 3 is 18, and root 2 is just root 2, and it can't simplify down any further. So the things to look out for here is, if we're multiplying two surds that are the same underneath, we're just going to end up with the number underneath outside the root. If we're multiplying two different ones, we put them together and just multiply them underneath. But we also have to check to see if we can't simplify this further, and also that we should keep the whole numbers separate from our roots. And always remember to check if it can be simplified further.